Objectively, this is better in every measurable way at removing polish and not creating any haze of your own. Welcome back to Just the Tip, everybody. Thanks for stopping by again. Today's video is going to be on polish removal, in particular on sticky, sensitive paint. So if you've ever had a car that you've polished and you're struggling to remove it without creating marring, this is the video for you. So this is today's victim, today's demo car. A Volvo. It's in for single stage enhancement. As you can see, or hopefully you can see on the video, this whole side has been polished. I don't work sets, remove, set, remove. I still work in sets, but I finish a reasonable part of the vehicle, be it a panel or lots of panels. I'm just trying to work efficiently. So now I've got this whole side with polish residue on. It's thin, it's easy to take off, it's not a problem, but we want to cover the steps that you can use to make sure that you don't have problems and create marring during the process. So, multifaceted, fancy word. So, multi-pronged attack. First thing is cloths. Okay. Everybody's got them, everybody uses them. The Costco cloth. It's a fine cloth. I usually buy 10 packs at a time. I use them for one and done for the most part. For me, I use them for removing coatings. For the most part, they're going to be perfectly adequate for removing polish residue, but they're not the best. They're not the softest, and they don't really wash very well. So if you're using it for a second or a third time, there's a very big chance that that could be your issue. So I'm not saying don't use them. They're a fine cloth. Like I say, I buy them in bulk, but they're not the best. They're not optimal. I definitely recommend you change them. 2. Yeah, look at that. Oh, so soft and plush cloths. They are worth the money. Yes, they're a small investment, absolutely, but they are worth it. 350 GSM, or just below or above, whatever. These are 350 GSMs. Super soft, dead plush, lots of room for residue to go into. They wash brilliantly. They come out soft again. Far, far superior. Just as good value when you think how long they last and how long these last. Excuse me. Replace your lower quality cloths with a higher quality, slightly higher GSM. You can definitely get to a thickness and start going backwards because they're too plush. 350 GSM's what I go for. Perfection. Don't quote me on that, might be 370. Go thicker, go thick or go home. So we've done that, we've replaced our cloths. Now we've got nice, soft, plush cloths. Make sure they are clean. If the cloth is clogged with residue, you're going to be leaving more and more residue on the car as you proceed. You're going to be chasing yourself, which means you're going to be rubbing more and more and more, and eventually you're going to get to a point where you are putting haze in just by virtue of the amount of strokes. Can we say strokes? Will we get demonetized for saying strokes? Passes. More and more passes over the vehicle. Plusher cloths, cleaner cloths, that's the first stage. And the second stage is this, not a bucket, a rinseless wash. I've been doing this technique for years. I have recently changed the rinseless wash that I use. For years I used Optimum No Rinse. No problems with it at all. Great product. All products have the pluses and the minuses. If you've got Optimum No Rinse, mix it up at the standard ratio. in a bucket, soak a second cloth in your Optimum no rinse, and you've got now the perfect setup. That is not O&R, that is actually the FaneLab Pure Rinseless. Like I say, everything has pluses and minuses. I have no problems with O&R. If you've got it, if you use it, keep using it. I will say the FaneLab, it is far superior in its cleaning properties. The idea here is you're going to remove the polish with a wrung out rinseless wash. So you are, instead of just hoping that you pick up the polish into the fibres of the cloth, you're picking that up and you're putting it back into the bucket. So when that cloth comes out next time, it's cleaner still. So we've got better cloths, we're touching the car less. The cloths that we are using are clogging at a much slower rate, and we are removing far more polish from the panels than with just the cloth alone. So let me give you an example. You don't want your cloth to be dripping wet. We're just going to wring it out well. I know the top of my head's probably not very good television. I probably should have planned this better. So, it's not dripping wet, it's just damp. And I'm going to just gently buff off the polish. This is Kochchemi F601. Been worked well. And I've got to be honest, this paint isn't particularly sensitive and I'm not really having a hard time pulling it off. I'm making this video because I've been linked in a number of posts recently regarding either this method or this very problem. So I thought, time to do a video on it so I can help you out. So like I say, I'm not scrubbing. I've not got tons of weight on the cloth. I'm not really rubbing at it. I'm going to keep folding it over. I'm going to keep just going to a clean side. And then once I've got all of this buffed off, if you've ever used a rinseless wash or seen them, you will know that they sort of start to flash off, almost like a very, very slow panel wipe. O&R, because of the polymers, probably flashes off a little bit better than this, but it definitely doesn't clean as well. The polish almost congeals when you use this product to take it off. It's damn near like using a panel wipe. So that's done. All of that residue has been removed. I've put the cloth back in the bucket. When I next use that, I'll wring it out in the water. All that polish is then in the bucket, it's not in the cloth. Now all I've got to do is just take my second cloth and just gently dry off these panels. Now of course in hot weather, these will be drying very quickly, so maybe you're not going to do a couple of panels at a time like me. And because rinseless washes are well lubricated, it's not a dry cloth rubbing a dry panel. That's a big problem as well. It's not just the quality of the cloths, it's the fact that there's nothing in between the cloth and the paint, which is kind of the point, right? But if you can lubricate the panel as you're buffing it off, then you've got even less chance of creating marring. And just make sure I've got all of my smears off. I've not been scrubbing. Bloody drips. I've not been scrubbing, I've not been fighting with it. It wouldn't matter if it was welded on initially, because the rinseless wash would mobilise it off the panel. So if it was welded and stuck, you're not going to have any problems lifting that off the panel safely, which is what this is all about. And that is it. We are done. Now all I've got to do is repeat that, excuse me, down the rest of the car. But here's the thing. Don't stand on ceremony. Don't wait for the bad paint. Don't wait for your polish to get stuck. Use this every single time. The more you use it, the more you will find more uses constantly. Sometimes you're going to get little bits of polishing dust and stuff that's going to, you cannot, if you polish enough, you know that it doesn't matter if your polish is non-dusting, you're going to get some bits of product that ends up over the car. If you've not got an airline, if you're mobile, if your feather duster is, you know, leaving its own marring or something, again, you can use this to manage the dust. It's the perfect system. Objectively, this is better in every measurable way at removing polish and not creating any haze of your own. It's going to be more thorough, it's going to be more reliable, you're going to get less drop back, you're going to leave less residue on there to pick up at a later stage with a panel wipe or whatever it is that you're using to degrease it. It is better in every measurable way. Use this method with everything except primer polishes, and I promise you, I absolutely promise you, you will have way more consistent results and you will consistently have less problems.